Hey guys, well I'm back after a little absence there. I didn't put anything up last Monday, but you know the way it goes. I mean, a lot of you guys making YouTube videos, you realize that you can't always stay on schedule. You know, it's not. I got that schedule where I want to have a video up every Monday, Tuesday. It's been pushing off into Tuesday lately instead of Monday, but anyway, you know what happens is life gets in the way of things, and because this is one of the things I enjoy doing, I don't want to feel pressured into pumping out videos and not having fun. You don't want it to feel like it's becoming a chore to put a video out. So, it's best the things that you enjoy doing, just to leave them fairly stress-free and kind of low-key. So today I've got some video still that I had shot from a few weeks back. Work on this ATV, which is over here to your left, and it's taking up room in my shop, and I got to get it moving. So today I'm going to finish. I'm going to change over the oil pump and reconnect the electrical. The electrical on this motor is kind of reverse from the other, and so I got to change the harness a little bit, and then we'll clean the carburetor, stick the carburetor on, and then test fire it and make sure we got spark and everything's working, and then at that point at least we got something that runs, and then I can just start piecing little things back together, one thing at a time kind of a thing. But it's been sitting in the shop too long, and it needs to move out of here. I need the room. I got other stuff I want to do, so I'd really love to have it out by the weekend. And the weather around here has been rainy, so the more it's rainy, the more stuff I do in the garage and the less stuff I do outside. The reason I've been absent is because there's stuff to do. It's springtime here, grass is growing, weeds are growing, weed spraying, garden to till, flowers to plant, just in general stuff, right? You want to get the house, a little bit of parging to do on the outside of the house. These little things, they got to get knocked off the list. And if you don't do them, during the week, the weekend, or if you don't do them during the week, you're not going to get them done, because the weekends you want to use for instance, last weekend was May long weekend. That's right, not this past weekend, but the weekend before was May long weekend. So naturally, you want to go camping. As usual, May long weekend in Manitoba, probably the same thing for the rest of Canada. It's raining. It's raining. It's cold, but it's it's just a roll of the dice, right? You don't know how it's going to turn out. But anyway, it did rain, so we had one good day of camping. The other day was rain. Whatever, that's the way it goes in this country, right? In this province, anyway. So let's crack on with this and get this motor at least installed today and fired, and yeah, anyway, so hopefully we get back on schedule again, back on the Monday, Tuesdays, and back on with some metal art and off this other stuff that's kind of driving me crazy. So anyway, see you in a bit. Hello, tubers!
There, tubers.
Maybe some of you maybe remember Stefan from probably last year, and he's back here this year. So this is the quad that him and my daughter usually ride, and he's elected to help change the motor. So that's pretty nice of him to help fix something that he probably helped break.
Pretty much.
No, he didn't help break it. It broke itself. So we're just getting started today. We're going to pull the motor out, and we'll probably get the new motor stuck into it, and hopefully we got a few things to switch over on this motor. We need to change the ring gear. I think it's missing a few teeth out of the ring gear. It's either that or the starter itself has a bit of a problem, but we'll know when we pull it apart. Put the carburetor back in it, hook up the oil injection, and we need to swap some stuff over for the recoil. Not that it needs the recoil, it needs to have the recoil, but you at least have to have a cover on there, because it does have electric start. And then we'll make sure it fires up and runs. And then after that, we'll hook everything else up and put the plastics back on, and it should be done. And it won't be done as fast as all that. It'll, we'll probably just get the motor stuck in today. So, anyway, tubers, it should have been. Right, so we're pretty well ready to pull the motor out now. One bolt left to take out. I'm probably blocking them. That's okay. You got it? Got it?
Yep.
That'll be the only thing that's holding it in.
I'll
try to push it against that.
Fall starter.
Probably. Yeah, that's alright. It won't go very far on it. Should be close. Washer. Okay. One motor. Yeah, good. Exactly. Keep them where they were. That's fine. All right, guys. So there you go. Motor's out. It's only a matter of the two bolts right down there. One up here, one right there. Not a big deal. Sorry, down here. Meant to say, not a big deal lining everything back up where it shouldn't be. Everything basically just has a hole to go in, except for this one down here. But same thing. It's just got a hole to go in, but it has a slot that moves back and forth. So, but that wouldn't be having anything to do with your motor and or your primary and secondary deflection. So, it shouldn't be a problem. Anyway. We've got some parts to swap over on this one. Like I say, we'll check the starter out, check the ring gear, switch the recoil over, and that's about it. We'll get back to you once we get those things done. Alright, so this is turning into part swapping basically. I was hoping to use the recoil from that one on the new motor. Well, it's not like so it's one motor, it's just a rebuilt motor. There's a lot of stuff to change around. Some things aren't going to match. I would have to pull the flywheel. So we're gonna start. I'm gonna leave the flywheel alone. The recoil is actually okay, but what the problem was the starter. So we decided, well, we'll just change the starter around. So we'll switch the starter from the old motor, which had a good starter, and we'll move that starter onto the new motor. Clean out our races and put some RTV. Ultra black RTV, and then seal it all up again. I'm a little concerned when I pulled the cover off, the recoil cover off of this new motor, a lot of moisture in there. If there's a lot of moisture in there, that means there's moisture in the stator. So hopefully it's not a problem. Hopefully if there was, it was all sitting at the bottom in that little case rig or clean out down there. So I guess we're going to find out when I hook it up and hook the ignition up to it and see if we got spark. So let's hope for the best, and we'll go from there. Get that starter in, spin it over, and see how that goes. Okay, starter is switched over, tested it, it works well. Just putting some RTV on the case. The recoil cover's got to go on there, and it's got to be water and dirt tight. So a good coating of RTV, slap it back together. Perfect scenario would be a nice gasket. We don't have a gasket. I don't think they actually use gaskets on these. I think they actually just always just used RTV. So in any case, the whole point is to keep the moisture out. It's not for spacing, so it's not a specific foul gasket or anything like that. So not a big thing. So put this back together, wind the recoil, and it should be going to the next step, which will be to switch the wiring over. So we're going to cut this harness and blend it with the harness on the new motor, because the new motor's got it's got the same wiring, but it's got different hookups, and we just want to have the same hookups so we can just plug everything right back into this here. So anything else? The exhaust flange will have to get changed out, and we may end up just changing that injection pump at the same time, because this injection pump I know works, this one I'm unaware of. So better to go with something you know, just pull the screws out, change the injection pump, and then switch it over. So, yeah, so we'll be on to the next thing here. Alright guys, so on this wiring harness, everything matches up, even the colors of the wires match up, so you guys can see that. I guess it doesn't matter, you don't need to see it. Fact is, all the wires match up, so all I gotta do is put some crimp connects on and tie that all those together. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 wire. 9. Hold on a second. 6 wires. Yeah. Counting a couple twice. 2, 4, 6 wires. Crimp connects, and then we'll get going with that. Alright. That's connections all made up. 2218 butt splices. So what do we got? Did I say 6? 6. There they all are. You know, I could have went with disconnects, but hey, let's just pretend to be really confident and say it's all going to work out, right? So there you go. So that's that. We'll clean this up a little bit over here. Wrap that, and then what? We'll change that oil pump out. The reason I'm changing the oil pump is because I know the one that I took off the other motor works. The one on this motor, I don't know, so it's better to go with what you know works. And then, you know, it's only a couple screws anyway, and a couple shims. That's oil pump. In case you guys never seen an oil pump before. Whoops! Hey, there you go. Give you a view of it. And it's dark in here as usual, right? What else is new? That's your drive. Comes from your crankshaft. So you guys see that? Oh man. Here, let's get you some more light. Hey, why don't we do that? There, that's so much better. Yeah, right. Anyway, that's your drive. Comes off your crankshaft. So, let's get that installed. Get the old one off, and you guys really want to watch that? Tell you what, I'll sit you down. You can watch me take the oil pump off. All right, so let's get you in there. We need. Gotta get the feed line off the pump. So this feed line feeds, you can see that, feeds into the intake on the engine. That's how the oil gets in there. And we'll just pull that off, and we'll try not to break it probably. Get off either at the inlet. Oh man, that's tight. There we go. Feed line's off. Then you got 2 screws, 2 Phillips screws. And man, it's been a while since I put my tools away, so I have to kind of look around while I'm talking to you here for my tools. There we go. On the inside, between the pump and that pump shaft, there's a couple shims, and it's best to notice how many shims are there. Otherwise, you'll have to reference it yourself and try to make sure it matches up. And that one's already nice and tight. And we need a different screwdriver so we don't strip it. Or how about strip it further than it's stripped already? Yeah, good one, Vince. Let's see if we can get it off there. That is tight. Let's use some snap lockers and get it off, and I think we got some other screws anyway, so we can always do that. Oh man. Let's try some channel locks on this. Just to get it loose. That is not going to come. Some channel locks on there. You know what? Things like this always pop up. It's not unheard of. It's just, what do you do about it once it happens, right? There we go. Once you get it started, then you're good to go. Or am I lying? No, here we go. Just Just hold that pump on there. Just get that screw out because, like I said, I don't want to lose track of my shims. So there we go. So you got an O-ring. You can see that there's actually an O-ring. That's your seal. And on the inside, you got a couple shims here. Or at least one, right? Let's have a look. It's 1, 2, there's 2. So we got 2 thin little shims that are, man, I don't know how many thou that is, but it ain't much. It might be 2 thou, 3 thou shim. Even thinner one there, it's about a thou. Not much, real thin. 2 thou. Let's see if the existing ones that we had from the other motor are the same. I have one set of calipers, and they're being used right now, and I got them set for something, and I don't want to move it, so let's just have a look and see how far we are off. Yeah, looks to be the same. So we'll go with the existing shims. What is inside this pump drive? Yeah. A bit of grease. Could be some grease and water. We should make sure that shaft turns. You guys see that in there? That's your shaft. It's driven off the crank. See it turning? I think you probably can here. I'll zoom you in a touch. There you go. So the main thing is you know that your shaft actually works, which means your pump should work. Zoom me back out. There you go. So let's get those back in there. Just gonna sit right back in down in there. And make sure we got a good O-ring on this other pump. Looks to be all good. So what we'll do is when we put it all back together, we'll yank this hose off. We put up our oil line on, and we'll let the oil run out of it first. We may even see if we can pre-charge the pump a little bit with some oil, and then when the oil is running out of the tube, which actually there is oil in the tube anyway, so it's not super crucial, then we put it back on. But in this case, usually what I do actually is I will run 50 or 60 to 1 oil fuel mix, just to be sure that everything is getting lubricated and nothing is dry. So anyway, we're good with that. Let's maybe give that a wipe and not just throw it all together and have dirt inside of our pump. Alright. This motor didn't come to me as a steam cleaned, ready to go unit. It came to me as a rebuilt. So that's okay. There is no gasket. There's just that O-ring. Good. This one obviously is clean, so I cleaned it up. And we'll try to reference all that in the same place. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. There we go. That's on. Now we should put some screws in, huh? I got some good ones here actually. These ones are off the other motor. Seems like there's some nicer parts on the other motor and some real bad parts on the other motor. So. and just snug, because you got that O-ring there that's going to take care of any dripping or leaking. And once we mess those screws up, see if you guys can see that. Let's zoom you back in again. See down there? Let's get you down a bit. See those reference marks? There's a matching reference mark right here. Right here, I'm kind of pointing to it. There's a reference mark there. So this is full closed. This is full. This is full open on the pump, and I want to be. See, is that hanging up? No, it's not hanging up. I thought it was going to hang up. I like that to be at least at the first, so about level right there. So I'm going to put it at 1.5 right there, and then it'll end up that way. At idle, it doesn't. It's not starving for oil, if you know what I mean. So anyway, so that's that. That's the pump install. Nothing special there. That is a bit sticky for some reason. Not sure why that is. The point is that if it sticks at this point, it's not that big a deal. If it sticks closed and doesn't open up, it's a much larger deal. But we'll lube that and make sure there's nothing hanging that whole thing up. But anyway, that's the oil pump. So what else am I going to do? We will get the carburetor cleaned, or get it in pieces for you next, and you can have a look at that. Alright, you want to pull this apart with me? Here, let me just explain to you the parts of this carburetor. It's a Mikuni. I'm not sure what it is. I think it's a 34. Fuel inlet line. Overflow. Air vent, basically. It's just an air vent. Sorry, it's not an overflow. It's an air vent. This guy right here is your... What it does is it raises or lowers. I wish I had that handy to show you, but I got it hooked up on the bike still. It raises or lowers the slide up and down inside the bore, and that's your idle adjust. So idle adjust means it allows more air and more fuel to come through by raising the slide up. It's a pretty simple setup. Here's your air, your idle air screw. Generally that's, you just preset probably a turn and a half, maybe 2 turns out, nothing special. And that's about it. I mean, your air metering slide, which also allows more fuel to run in, is down inside this bore. So simple stuff. So let's take it apart and then you can have a look. I mean, do I have to pull this apart? Well, no, but God, I would look like a complete freaking idiot if I installed the thing back in the bike and I had a problem in the carburetor and had to pull everything apart again. I wouldn't have to pull the motor out, obviously, but I'd have to pull the carb. So you're better off to pull it, check it, clean the main jet, clean the pilot jet, check your float, check your main jet, what would that be? Your jet needle, your needle jet, which is also your tube. People just call it the tube. So it's your needle jet, and then your jet needle moves up and down inside, which meters the fuel in the coming out of the main jet. Is that confusing yet? Yeah, probably a little bit, huh? It's a lot easier for me to do it than it is for me to explain. Just because you end up tripping over the terminology a lot. So, needle jet, jet needle, etc., stuff like that, etc. I flushed. I don't know if you guys probably didn't see that. I was just referring to. I was just pointing at, but I flushed out the oil spray line that goes into the intake and blew some brake clean through it just to make sure it was clear and not plugged. Because obviously, if it's plugged, you're not going to get any oil in there. So that would be a bit of a bad situation, huh? And we wouldn't want to seize the motor, would we? All right, let's have a look. Pull this bowl off. There should be a gasket there, and the gasket's still intact. We're good. There's your floats. They move up and down. They're good, and there's no. You guys see that? There is no sediment. Man, it is just so freaking dark in here. So this corner. Hold on. Let me turn another light up. Let's see if I can get you like a little bit more freaking light, right? Gosh. Lights on, lights off. Holy crap. So there you go. That's your floats. Sorry it's so dark. It's not dark over here underneath the light, but it is where you guys are. Anyway, those floats basically, God, this is so bad. Let's just get you some better light or something. But next time. Not today, next time. So they actuate against this arm, and if you can see it, there is see a little underneath that arm? That's your needle and seat. So when the floats drop down, the fuel runs in through, and this shuts off. Man, you got it. I'm not even holding it right for you. Sorry about that. Basically, that's a fuel valve. It's a shut-off valve. And the floats either turn the fuel on, which is like that, and let the fuel run in, or turn it off and stop the fuel from coming into the bowl. So, pretty simple. And those levers, see the little levers there? They should be sitting level, and they're sitting level, so we're good with that. Over here is your main jet. Inside, in that tube, which you can't see and I can't see right now either, is your pilot jet, which is for idle and just moving up into mid-range. This is for your, would be for top end, mid-range to top end. So anyway, let's pull that stuff apart. All right, so what did I settle on here? Settled on a number 6, what is that, 6 mil? Oh, absolutely riveting. 6 millimeter. Just gonna have a look at that main jet just to see if it's clear, and it's as clear as they get. And that should fall out. There's a pilot jet that I loosened off already. I don't have my, just get my magnifying glass. If it's important to you guys, and it's clean too, so it's not a problem. It's clean all the way through. And the main jet, or sorry, the needle jet is clear. It's all clear, so it's all good. I'll put that back in. Pilot jet back in, tighten it down. It's all good. If there is a problem, I'd clean it out. Happy with that. And put the main jet back in. I got a big, huge drive. You don't really want to have that. You just want to hand tighten it. That's good. It's done. The rest of it's good. It's all clean. All the passages are clean. There was nothing wrong with this carburetor, but I didn't know that, and you don't really know it until you pull it apart and look at it anyway. And like I say, needle and seat's good, and you can tell if I blow in this fuel delivery tube. Hear that? And then see, it's a valve. Simple. This goes back on. So, screws go back in. You should use a new gasket. Don't do as I do. Do it the way you want to do it. You should. If you have a new gasket, you should change the gasket. Otherwise, the fuel may leak. And my methods are my own. So you shouldn't necessarily do it the way I do it. Anyway, we'll tighten this up. We'll get on the motor, get the motor installed, and we'll give it a quick fire and see if we got spark and all that kind of good stuff. And we are not too far away from getting that done now. So anyway, guys, catch you in a bit. Well, we'll have to leave it at that for tonight, I guess. That's enough time spent today. So we got the motor in and got the ignition hooked up, but we got no spark. No spark unless I flip the off-on kill switch back and forth. So something is going on. I've got a wire crossed up there somewhere. So anyway, I'll think about that and get it figured out, and whatever. That's good enough for that. Anyway, guys, have a good night.
They're trying to get ahead. They're trying to be a good friend.